So I feel like we've all been at a certain point in our lives where we've been too old to be treated as children, but unfortunately, we're still young enough to not be seen as an adult. And I think that one of the things that really comes in mixed with all of that is the right to vote, which is one of the largest rights and one of the most important responsibilities we have as citizens. Um, and I just really think that teens aren't allowed to make these decisions for themselves since the voting age is 18. But in reality, I feel like it should be lowered to about 16 because I feel like teens are ready to be able to vote at 16. It also instills this habit of voting to these younger generations, and it'll also make them feel seen and heard by elected officials. So, by what I mean by when I say that teens are ready is that students take civic classes in school. And I remember in my seventh grade civics class, we learned a whole bunch about the government. And I feel like that information is still really fresh in my mind. And I feel like students that are around 16 have a general understanding of how the government works and how everything comes together. And it's just fresh. They have fresher minds. They're more open to a lot of things. And I feel like they have the necessary knowledge to be able to make these really important decisions. Younger people right now, they don't really vote as much because it's not totally fully encouraged. It's not encouraged as much as it should be because voting is such a huge responsibility and such a huge right, and it's just not encouraged enough, which is why lowering the voting age will encourage people to vote before the age of 18. Because when you get to 18, it's not encouraged enough. But if you could vote beforehand, even if it wasn't as encouraged either, you'd be able to vote and you'd just have that motivation to go ahead and do it, which in turn will get more people to vote since it's just going to create that momentum. And it'll just teach younger people to vote regularly, which, in consequence of that, in light of that, it will grab the attention of these politicians that make their laws, make their propositions, make everything towards their target audience. It would shift the focus to a broader spectrum. And so I feel like teens will be seen and their voices will be heard if they could vote earlier, since it's going to affect very severely voting and election outcomes. I also feel like young people are the future of this country. We are the future of the United States. And having older people vote what they want makes absolutely no sense, since the younger people are going to have to grow up and deal with all of the consequences of the older people voting instead of being able to vote and make their decisions for what their future will look like.